What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Cjthecheesedj here, and we are back with another dino build, and today we are taking a look at none other than the Reaper King himself. Now, this is an actual Reaper King. If you've been fans of the channel, you will know that we've always had trouble spawning in Reaper Kings. Well, we finally figured it out, and here we have a Reaper King, not a Reaper King, and we will be going over their abilities real quick, and then we'll be going through some builds and rolls that you guys can make for these Reapers to get the most out of their stats. Now, these guys were only, they're all different levels actually, which is a little bit annoying. You can see we've got a 55 here, we've got an 85 there, and a 90 over there. So we're going to use this guy to do our first roll. Here he is here. Our level 90 should have the highest stats. Yeah, there we go, that looks good to me. Alrighty, so first off, we're just going to take a look at their abilities. So one of their abilities is the ability to jump. As you can see here, we're able to jump really freaking high. There we go. These guys are nuts when it comes to jumping. Now, they also have a bite attack, a dig attack, and a spitball attack. You can see there, we're able to fire like little spores of, I don't know what they are, spines, I guess you could say, or something like that. There we go. And they can hit the target. There we go. Now, we can also do a tail swing, which you can see there. Boom, and that does a huge knockback on anything in the vicinity. Now, as well as that, like I said, they have the ability to bury underground. There we go. Let's get him to bury. Boom. Okay, maybe that was a bad idea. Let's just quickly actually enable creative mode so we don't die here. There we go. So you can see that the Reaper King is able to bury underground, and you can set him to neutral so he pretty much waits in ambush for anything that comes his way that he wants to attack. Can you please kill him, Mr. Reaper King? Come kill him, big guy. There we go. Alrighty. Thank you very much, sir. So with their abilities out of the way, you can see that he has quite a few abilities available to himself. Let's get into our first build. Now, the first build that we will be doing with the Reaper King is the Combat Specialist. Now, there are a few ways to go about doing this. The main one that you probably want to invest in the most is the dual crowd control kind of build that you want to go with. With this build, you mainly want to level up health and melee damage. Now, in turn, these will increase, obviously, his health and his melee damage, which you can use during raids and everything, deal with other pesky player dinos, and just PvP in general. Now, if you obviously want more of a tankier Reaper King, well, you pretty much just want to dump everything into health, because, well, these guys can get ridiculously tanky, and it very much comes in handy. Now, because of their added bonus of having extra armor platings, technically they don't have a saddle or anything, they've just got extra armor, they don't take any extra damage, especially if they don't have a charge pet, the enemies that you're attacking. If they do have a charge pet, well, then you definitely want to watch out, because it'll increase the damage that your Reaper King will take exponentially. It'll deal a lot more damage. So that's why you want to buff up health, just to make him more tanky. Now, if you want to turn this guy into like an armor shredder who will just rip through absolutely anything and everything, including rock drakes, other Reaper Kings, basilisks, you name it. You want to dump all your points into melee damage. However, for this purpose of this Combat Specialist build, we will be trying to split it equally among health and melee damage. Now, these guys aren't really the best way to showcase it, because as I said, they're all different levels. This guy's only a level 90. The maximum level Reaper you can actually get is a 225. That is while it's born, so you can actually get the extra 72 levels after that as well. But this build is great, like I said, just for dealing damage in general, going around absolutely smiting anything and everything in your path, and dealing the most amount of damage you possibly can. These guys have crazy amounts of damage, and they have crazy amounts of health, and you would be foolish not to invest points into either of these abilities with your Reaper King. But that covers the first build, the Combat Specialist build. We're now going to move on to the next one. Now, another little added benefit before we move on to the next role of this build is that you can actually turn him into a portable ambush machine. Like I said, he has the ability to bury. Now, if you stick these guys into bury mode around your base and you have people coming in and attacking you, they won't actually... Are you digging or not, mate? They won't actually see... Okay, there we go, that was weird. They won't actually see your Reaper King, which is great because you can leave these guys in wait and then whistle for them to attack the target. Now, see how this ground is disturbed? When the players come in to attack you, they won't actually see this ground disturbed. It'll just look normal to them, which is great. The only way that these guys can get seen is if they've got direwolves with them on other maps, or the rock drakes with them on Aberration. So you've got to take that into mind as well. But you can essentially use these guys to ambush any potential victims that come nearby your base. You can see there, boom. He's straight up out of the ground. Is he coming out of the ground? He's not unburied. Can he dig through the tunnel? Okay, well there you go. You can actually move him around as well while being underground. Now, you can obviously whistle to attack the target if they come into vicinity, making him pop out of the ground and surprising whoever the hell decides to attack you with a rather unfortunate surprise for them. So now that we've covered that, let's move on to the next one. So the next build we'll be focusing on with the Reaper King is the traveling build. Obviously, you guys would have seen this coming. Most of the dinosaur builds have travel builds. The Reaper King here, though, he's rather particular. This one here, you're going to want to boost his stamina up a decent amount. You also want to pump up his weight, which, you know, many people might think it's a waste considering it is a Reaper King. But don't get me wrong, this guy can easily traverse the terrain located through Aberration and through the other maps. Now, from here, it's entirely up to you what you want to do. You can either level up his movement speed, or you can just go into health and melee damage split equally, so that anything he comes up against will die in a huge ball of fire. Now, do take note, the only things that will attack a Reaper King are Carcanoses and Basilisks. You will occasionally get Spinos and Dire Bears attacking you if you wandered too close to them, but they're easy prey for a Reaper King. So it's entirely up to you whether or not you want to increase his health and melee damage. I'm just going to go straight out and level up that movement speed because, well, it'll just definitely help him get across the map quicker. Now, you know, like I said, there's not really much else to say for the traveling build. You want to utilize his jump as best as you can, but look at that huge leaping distance. It's nuts, you know, you don't need to worry about sprint speed when you've got such a big jump on your side. However, it does help when you're navigating through Aberration and the other maps. You can see here his movement speed has increased exponentially, which makes him great for getting around. So, you know, there's the travel roll build. You don't really need anything else than that. We're not going to talk about it much more because you guys have heard about it in previous videos. You just want to level up weight, stamina, you know, even movement speed if you wanted to. Entirely up to you guys, but that's just one of the builds that we are showcasing to you guys. Now we're going to move on to the third and final build. Now, we've got two builds for this because they kind of come into the same category as each other. So we're going to showcase to you guys right now what that is. Alrighty guys, so the final build that we'll be showcasing to you guys is the Vault. The Hidden Vault. So essentially with the Reaper Kings, they can bury underground, like I said previously, and you can leave them under there for as long as you like, with the only means of being detected on Aberration purely the Rock Drake. Even then, they still won't actually be able to tell where you're located. They'll just know that you're in the area. Now, the only other way to uncover a Reaper from the ground is through explosives or fire, so you don't need to worry too much. But you can turn this guy into your very own portable vault. You tell him to bury, boom. He'll bury underground, no one knows where he is except you and your tribe mates, unless you obviously tell people where he is, and you can easily store all your valuables within the Reaper King. Now, many of you might seem like this is a waste because, well, Reaper Kings are difficult to tame. You know, they're not your everyday average Joe where you just knock them out and tame them up like that. You've got to get impregnated and all that and just state them. Well, imagine all the valuables you can store on the Reaper. This guy was only a 55, and look how much weight he's got. 1,800 weight. Granted, we put it all the points into weight. You can still use this guy to stay hidden and, you know, protect your valuables and everything. And even then, if you are located on another map and they've got direwolves and they sense you underground, the Reaper King is more than capable of defending himself until you get back up. You can see that this guy's got 9k health, you know. And if they don't have the charge pet with them, well, then they're in for a world of hurt because the Reaper King will pop up, take reduced damage from them, and they'll get absolutely shredded into next week. So this is, you know, one of your other builds that you can think about using a Reaper King for. Honestly, if you get impregnated by a lower level Reaper Queen, this is definitely a build you should think about. Now, within this build, because we've mainly leveled up, or pretty much entirely leveled up weight, you can actually utilize this build for other things. Mainly a taming assist dino. Now, if you guys don't know, his spores actually slow down creatures by 10%, and they actually knock flyers out of the air. You can see there that Pteranodon just got knocked out of the air. Now, because these guys don't have, well, this build doesn't actually have the extra melee damage, you can deal these as much as you want to any enemy dinos, or like wild dinos, I guess you could say, and this effectively slows them down and prevents them from fleeing. You can then just constantly batter them with the spores, while another player knocks them out with bolts or whatever the heck you're using to knock them out. You know, you can use this taming method on Carcanoses as well. Do note it only works for 10 seconds, however, before you have to try and activate the effect again. However, it's great. You can use this with Carcanoses if you yourself are riding on the Reaper King and you have a tri-mate riding the Parasaur. Line up the Parasaur and you can easily lob catapult boulders at the Carcanos, taming it up. You know, even wild Gigas, Rexes, anything that bloody hell you can think about, you can use for the Reaper King to slow down and easily assist you in taming it up. It's entirely up to you whether or not you want to use this. It is an added benefit of putting the points entirely into weight, or even the travel mount could do this. So it's all up to you guys how you want to go about planning your Reaper out. This is just some of the builds we've thought about for you guys to utilize however the heck you want. But that's pretty much all there really is for the Reaper King build, you know. You don't really need him to satisfy any other builds, you know. You've got your combat specialist, your travel mount, your ambusher, you know, your hidden vault. There's tons of other utilities that you can secretly use this guy for. However, one thing I do recommend not to do with the Reaper King is take him into water. These guys do not excel at being in water all that much, and they will likely die if you take them into water during a PvP battle. So do take that into mind as well. But other than that, guys, that'll pretty much conclude today's video. Let me know what you thought of the Reaper King builds down below. Let me know if you've got any advice or, you know, just something different that you thought I should have said through the video. But other than that, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to catch you in the next one.